We were fortunate enough to get to meet world-renowned photographer David LaChapelle. The American artist has been making pics and directing movies and music videos for decades already, and really is one of the best in the industry. It's especially his photos of celebrities that really shot him to international fame. One peek at his Instagram account gives you an idea of the caliber of A-listers he normally works with. But whether his images feature famous people in them or not, there's one thing they all have in common.
That's the magic of art, without words or without having met someone, to move them through art. So that's my goal, to make pictures like songs. How music will touch you and doesn't need explanation or anyone to decipher it. It hits you, you feel it, and that's what I want.
Making a living being a photographer isn't easy, but David found a clever way in. We're living in a society where people are obsessed with stardom, and it's that celeb hunger he used to his advantage.
The great masters, they would always use people who were famous in their time. So even Botticelli, for instance, would use Simonetta Vespucci as his muse, his model for Primavera and the Birth of Venus. And so I'm using people from our time that are, the sort of aristocrats of our day, or famous people of our time. And it brings attention to the work, and really I just want to connect with people. I want the work to be seen, and yes, it's part of this history, but also it's a way to connect to the world.
From Tupac Shakur to Amy Winehouse, from David Bowie to Michael Jackson, they all pop up in LaChapelle's work. But it's not just dead artists in his pics. He's also made a stunning series of angelic portraits of Kim Kardashian.
I was equating her with this idea of Mary Magdalene, because so many people have such negative things to say about her. Maybe they're jealous, or I don't know, but it's sort of like, this idea for me of equating her with a biblical idea, showing that we really haven't progressed that much since ancient times, he without sin throw the first stone, and brotherly love, like, where are these things, So I find this interesting to make parallels and connections between the past and the time that we live in today, because we really haven't progressed morally or spiritually. We've progressed with technology and the ability to communicate. The speed of our lives today, it's unimaginable. But we haven't progressed since the Greek or Roman times, or even prior. We're still dealing with these same things: jealousy and envy and wars and greed. These are still the things that the Romans and the Greeks were talking about in their work, in their art, and they're still very relevant today.
David's also frequently worked with Sir Elton John. The iconic musician had his life immortalized in the movie Rocket Man. And the film poster featuring Taron Egerton as Elton was shot by LaChapelle.
Yeah, I've worked with Elton for many years. Gosh, going back 20, 25 years. Directed a show of his. So I made videos for all of the classic songs. I photographed his new tour, Elton's farewell, his last tour. So we did all the pictures for that. And we've been friends for so many years, and collaborators, so he's someone I really admire and had a privilege to work with for a long time now, so.
The photographer lived in LA amongst the stars for a long time. But back in 2006, he decided to move to Hawaii, to a remote retreat in the forest. He now lives an isolated life on a solar-powered farm, growing his own food and being completely self-sustaining.
I have a lot of time for solitude. I spend a lot of time in nature, and can really hear that intuitive voice inside.
His years being one with nature seem to have worked wonders, as his pictures are more beautiful than ever. And the most stunning part is that nothing about them is photoshopped. Building the sets can often take months, and getting just the right lighting and composition can only be done by someone with a masterful eye. Looking at his incredible body of work, it isn't very surprising that all the A-listers want to work with David LaChapelle.